Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome everybody to this morning session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. Today we will speak about sustainable industrial innovation through renewable energies, and in order to do that, we have invited Gilles Colson from the cluster Green Wind, Cedric Brul from the cluster Tweet, Axel Soyer from the Simon, and after that we will open the floor to everyone. So welcome, and we will start immediately with Gilles. Welcome, Gilles.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Antonio. Can you hear me well?
Yes. Should I give you the presentation right? Or...
Yeah, I would like to share my screen with you, but I need your authorization to share.
Yes, you have it.
Okay. Let me know when you have the presentation.
Now we see your screen, but not in full, not in full view. You know.
Okay. Let me check here. Wait. Okay, and normally that I try to move.
If not, you can go on this way.
No, here you should see the full presentation.
Now it's perfect.
Okay.
Thank
you, Antonio. Thank you, Nina, for inviting me today and inviting my colleague from Wallonia. So for the people who don't know where is Wallonia, this is the French-speaking part of Belgium. So I organize, upon your request, a short program just to illustrate what we do in Wallonia. Let me give you a very short introduction about Green Wind and about, let's say, the clustering policy in Wallonia. I have only 5 minutes, so let's start immediately. So Green Wind is one of the 6 innovation clusters in Wallonia. So it's really important to see the difference between innovation cluster and business clusters. So, for example, Green Wind is an innovation cluster, and Tweed, that Cedric will present you in a couple of minutes, is a business cluster. So we are not competitor, we are really complementary. Let's say that we act a step before Tweed. We act on technology transfer, on technological partnership, and where the Tweed clusters act more in the step after in a commercial and business phase. So Green Wind has a broad scope because we are the innovation cluster dedicated to the green sectors. So we are working on 3 main strategic axes that you can see on your screen. We are focusing on sustainable chemistry, on sustainable building, and on environmental technologies. In those 3 main strategic axes, we are working on 9 strategic fields of activities, which are green chemistry, CO2, industrial biotechnologies. On the second axis, construction building, we are mainly focusing on sustainable materials, energy storage, and efficiency and construction systems. And the third axis, we are mainly, when I say we, it's our members, they have this expertise. We are mainly working on waste and water management, air remediation, and soil and sediments. Like many of you, I guess, we have also in our strategic axis two, let's say, transversal axes, which are circular economy and digitalization. In terms of, let me give you maybe a few figures. So you have to know that GreenWin exists now for 10 years. It was 2 weeks ago our 10 years birthday. And we have approximately 200 members, of which let's say that 75–80% are SMEs. We have 30 big companies, 16 research centers, universities, and other members like public authorities, training operators and actors. We already labeled 56, a bit more, 56 projects for a total budget of 140 million euro, of which 80% are coming from the Walloon region and Walloon subsidies, and the other 20% are from European fundings. In terms of European fundings, you have to know that we are sometimes part of European consortium. In this context, if you are looking for some partners for EU project, do not hesitate to come back to me if it's related to one of the three strategic axes I just mentioned before. We already coordinated one FP7 project, which was the SCOT project. SCOT is for smart CO2 transformation. This project aimed to produce a strategic agenda and a European action plan on the use of CO2 as a resource and not as a waste. And one of the good, not consequence, but one of the good results of this project was the creation with some European industrial actors, the creation of the CO2 Value Europe Association. We were also part of the LCIP project. It was a live project about the life cycle analysis in the building sectors. Just now we are also part of one BBI project, Agrichem Way, and one other project, Ferti Manu. So in this context, it's not a specific goal for clusters. It's my personal opinion to be member of a consortium, except if it's strategic for the region. But one of the main objectives of GreenWin is to integrate our members in some EU consortia. So basically, we are like all of you are. We are a platform for networking and information. This is the basic role of the clusters. I'm used to say that my first mission is to make people talking to each other. But the core business of our cluster, GreenWin, is really to support our members to set up collaborative research and development and innovation projects. This is the big majority of the project we support, but we also work on training project, on investment project, and on technological platforms. What does that mean? Basically, we help our members to find the good partners and the good funding sources, and we do it at a regional level, at a national level, but also at an international level, mainly with European programs. So today I invited and I propose to two of my colleagues to present themselves. So we will hear first the cluster tweet. Tweet is for technology of Wallonia energy, environment and sustainable developments, which aims to play a major role in the business development of sustainable energy sectors. The Walloon renewable energy strategy will be presented by Mr. Cédric Brul, Tweed Managing Director, and I see that I forgot R. I will add it after the presentation. And in a second phase, we will hear about the presentation of Mr. Axel Soyer, commercial director of Decimon company, who will present a concrete project set up with the support of Greenwind related to the thematic of the day. And the name of the project is Acutherm. So this is it for me, because I had 5 minutes and I don't want to waste your time. But once again, I really appreciate the enthusiasm in this network, and if we can collaborate for future EU programs, or maybe to organize some business mission, let me know. I will be very enthusiastic to collaborate on that. Thank you, and Antonio, the floor is yours.
You can be sure that we will propose your collaboration in the future. Totally sure. Thank you, Gilles. We will come back to you soon. And now it's time to welcome Cedric Brul on the cluster tweet. Will I give you the presentation right, Cedric?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so the floor is yours.
Just I need to give the right I have to
think
give
that
the right. Yeah, so I need to go out and go in. So
no, Cedric, if you don't mind, I can present your file, and you could indicate me if I need to go ahead, okay, with the slides, if you don't mind.
all right.
There it is.
Thank you. So welcome everybody. I will go through for 15 minutes through the energy transition in Wallonia, and I will focus on 3 main sectors for the cluster. It's the renewable energy communities, the storage, and hydrogen ecosystem. So let's start. Next slide, please. So cluster 3, just in one slide, we have been created in more than 12 years right now, and we have 140 members, and our work is like all the other clusters is to make the network for renewable energy within Wallonia and Brussels, so the French-speaking area from Belgium, and we are there to support industrial projects and innovative projects in the region, and we are working very closely with the competitive cluster and with Greenwind to build this type of projects and to help our members to have the capabilities to support this project. We have a website that is English based. It's named rewallonia.be, and you can discover all the players in the different value chains, and you can click on the different parts of the value chain to discover really the capabilities of the players. Next. So in this website, you can discover the players. It's more than 300 players in this website, and so it's very useful tool to discover, let's say, the Walloon ecosystem in the renewable energy. So I see that you are in the web page, and so I really invite you to go through this website and discover if there is players that can be maybe your next partner for an European project within the members of your cluster. So every time you have a mapping, as you can see here, and so there is an interactive view, and you can really discover what is going on in Wallonia in this area. So you can go back to the presentation. Next slide, please. So we have more than 350 players in it, and so really it's quite efficient to find the next your capabilities for an European project. So I really invite you. We can make the link for sure, but for the next Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe, sorry, program, I think it's quite useful tool, and we can of course make the link with our ecosystem. Next. So I will go through 3 or 4 slides just to present the energy transition strategy in Wallonia. So our climate and energy framework in Wallonia, for sure, we are like all the other countries in Europe. We have the dynamic from Europe and from the world with the COP21, from the Green Deal, the recovery plan in Europe, the green strategy within Europe. And so we, as a region, we have our own targets that are quite similar that the Europe targets. Maybe less in terms of renewable energy production because we are a more dense country with less capabilities of energy production for renewable energy, but still we have the same goal in a long pathway for the CO2 neutrality. And at the regional level, we have different parts of this objective that could be divided in an objective in terms of renewable energy production for 2030, a specific target for the transport and the reduction of CO2 in transport. We have a specific objective for energy renovation strategy for building, and we have also, like all the other countries, specific targets for the ETS industry related objective for CO2, but as well the non-ETS industry. For example, an objective of fuel switch, new way to provide energy as hydrogen infrastructure, CO2 infrastructure, etc., etc. Next slide, please. So where are we now? We see that we have met our targets of 13% target in 2020. Europe, the target was 20% of renewable energy. So we have smallest, one of the smallest target for renewable energy production, but we have achieved to have this target. But for sure, we need to improve this renewable energy capability production in the next years. It's one of the main objectives in Wallonia, and it's very important because we need to electrify a part of our industry. We need to electrify a part of the industry. We need to make hydrogen production, and it needs for sure renewable energy to do so. And so we need more renewables in Wallonia in the different countries in Europe. Next slide. In terms of electricity, we see that for Belgium, we have more or less 25% of the electricity that is coming from renewables right now. It's more for wind onshore, wind offshore, because we are one of the 3rd major countries for wind offshore in Belgium. It's very massive, important portfolio that we have in terms of production for offshore wind, and we have as well a strong PV sector. And so this year we have seen that 25% of this electricity is coming from renewables. It's for sure it's because as well of the COVID situation that has reduced the consumption in a general way in the country, but it's the pathway that we have to follow. Next slide. One of the challenge in Belgium is the phasing out of the nuclear, and so we need this increase of renewables. And in the same time, we need to make some capacity reserve. So we need storage, we need flexibility, we need demand-side management, and we have 5 years to do so, because in 5 years, in 2025, we won't have a big part of our electricity that is coming from nuclear. It's 50% right now, and we will have to transform it in gas, and in renewable storage and flexibility in demand-side management. So it's a huge challenge for Belgium, and so we have only few years to achieve this target. Next slide, please. So I go through three different examples as a cluster, what we are doing in this transition and what is the role of a cluster in this transition. I have three examples that we are the job that we are doing in the cluster, and I think it's quite useful to exchange with you because you are a cluster as well, to see if what we are doing is the same that in the country that you are representing. So the first example is the self-consumption energy communities in Wallonia, and our job is to create a platform and a transversal coordination between all the projects that are related to the self-consumption, collective self-consumption of energy and energy communities. That is a topic that is coming directly from Europe, that is translated in the different regulation in Europe, and we are trying to make some guidance, some interface between the players and authorities. We are creating this platform to create some synergies in it and to disseminate and to valorize the outputs of the different projects that we try to manage. Next. In this platform, the objective is to build pilot cases, demonstrators, and living labs. So we are working with different type of technologies, of different type of players, cities, public investment players, and different the regulators, the public authorities, and all these players need to work together with the consumers and the end consumers that have to use the technologies, that have to use the energy communities in itself. And so we try to really to gather all these players to build some pilot cases, new business models, and work in different technologies to make a market rollout afterwards. When we have identified one business case that is functioning well, we are working to make a rollout of this new business model. And the objective is to make the link with the regulatory laws, because everything is related to regularity and new legislation in this type of models. And so with the pilot cases, we go with the political and administrative power in the region, and we are mentioning them all the barriers that can avoid the market rollout of this type of projects. Next slide. So we have really the objective of a cluster is to build projects, and within the energy communities area, we are helping these players to build projects. For example, this project is to build a renewable energy community at the business park level. And so we are working with universities, big companies, small companies, grid operators, public authorities, and all these players together are creating a business energy community within a business park, and we are making new tools to make this integration in the energy markets. So really it's one example of what we can do with a competitive cluster, and so we are working to build a project, and we are helped by competitive cluster as Greenwind to finance this type of projects. Next slide. Next slide, please. And so a second example is the energy storage. As I've mentioned, the objective for Wallonia, we have few years to create some flexibility in the market. It's very important because we are a small market, but very related and connected to all the countries around us, with Netherlands, Germany, France, UK, even Denmark in the future. We are related to these countries with the grid network, and we are providing some flexibility. And so the energy storage is very important for Belgium, and we are creating right now a portfolio of projects. Next slide. So our job as a cluster is to bring some R&D centers, small startups, small companies, and we are helping them to build project competencies, knowledge, and improve the TRL, so the technology readiness level. And we are helping them from the basic ideas, the fundamental research, through the market. And so I give here some example from lab to market in Wallonia. It could be R&D centers that are providing test bench for fuel cells, new types of lithium-ion batteries. It could be thermal energy storage lab unit. It's a solid storage laboratory. All these players can provide some laboratories for the companies. We have still in the players, industrial players that are working for the carbon nanotube, and they have been selected for the value chain, battery value chain in Europe, so the European Battery Alliance. We have phosphate-based cathode materials that are used for the batteries. We have players that are working for the plug and play storage solution. We are working in the recycling, and because we are a cluster, we are working in the whole value chain and not as a federation with all the players in the same area. And as we see for the storage, we need the work of a cluster. So we really need this value chain that is coming from the R&D through the market and the product in itself through the end for the recycling. And so we need all these players to work together. Next slide. And we are creating some application and new business models. So one example is the virtual power plant. Right now, we are several projects in Wallonia where we built 10 megawatts of batteries to offer some flexibility on the market. It could be intraday and balance business models. And behind that, we are creating a new market and new technologies. So it's really, really important to follow this type of project and markets players, because we are creating new players that can be export in the future. Next slide. And next slide. Just to be quicker, and next slide. It's example of project, but to be sure, and Accuterm will be presented just behind this presentation. And just to finish in 3 minutes, the last ecosystem that we are creating right now is the hydrogen. For sure, all the regions and countries are working right now in the hydrogen sectors, and we are launching today a hydrogen hub from Wallonia. The objective is to help the hydrogen players from our region to work together to create this ecosystem and to work as a global place for hydrogen. And I will present you in 3 slides the way of we are working. The first, next slide please, is to follow all the players like the storage area from TRL 1 to TRL 9. And so we see different knowledge that we can provide. And for example, we provide some laboratories, but as well pilot cases. It could be one big pilot case for hydrogen production in airport. So to have electrification of an airport with hydrogen and then electrolyzers within the airport. It's to use the waste incinerator to produce as well electricity that will be used by an electrolyzers and to produce hydrogen for mobility, buses and trucks. And as well, it's to build and to help big players to be worldwide players. And we have the chance to have John Cockerill, that is a major manufacturer of electrolyzers, and they have won a big supply of electrolyzers for the Olympic Games of Beijing 2022. And so we are helping this type of players to have a worldwide market. Next slide. And so for a cluster, the big work is to build the value chain from the R&D through engineering, finance, manufacturing, distribution, installation, maintenance, training, certification, education, promotion, and we gathers all these companies to offer a same solution for the market, a same ecosystem for the region. It's a single point where the different regions in Europe can contact our hub, so the cluster, and for sure we will find the best player in the different part of the value chain that can help to build a project. And the last slide, when you have done this value chain analysis, you can help to build a portfolio of projects. It's always the same methodology. We build the value chain, we build an ecosystem with all the players, and with these players, we are working with them in working groups, and we are making a portfolio of projects. Here you find 8 big industrial projects for hydrogen in Wallonia. It could be CCU and hydrogen production with electrolyzers. It's electrolyzers to produce buses, trucks, and hydrogen. It's to build the infrastructure of hydrogen in Wallonia. It's to build some agro-food industry that are using hydrogen. It's to build pyrolysis of methane in CCGT, power plants. It's all the project that we gather in one portfolio, and we try, here it's a portfolio for the recovery plan. We have 160 million euros that will be invested in this value chain in Wallonia. And our job is to bring some, let's say, collaborative way and global solution for the end. We will create some technology, big players and infrastructure for Wallonia. So I hope that the 3 examples were quite relevant for today. And I really thank you for the time that I've today to present you this way. And just to mention that the cluster, we are very happy to work with a lot of clusters in Europe right now within the COSME Excellence Program and within the COSME Go International Program. We have been selected yesterday for a project about the Nexus Energy and Water with a cluster from Italy, France, and Spain. And so we are really happy to work with all the cluster in Europe. And really, I think the objective in Europe is to bring together the clusters and to bring this solution to the market for really the big export. And we really believe as a cluster tweed that Africa is a major market for an European cluster for the energy, because we need to provide this renewable energy in Africa. Just to finish with that.
Merci beaucoup, Cédric. Wonderful presentation. Okay, so I'm sure again that we will come back to you with questions and comments, but let's now return to our last speaker. That is, let me check here in my presentation, Axel. So yes, so welcome, Axel.
Thank you. Is it possible to share the screen?
Yeah, I will do the presentation. Right. Please, if you are not speaking, put your mic off because we are hearing a keyboard.
Wait. Go to meeting. Wait. I'm almost ready. I have to give some rights. It's always like that. Huh? Okay. Should work. I have to restart. So.
Okay, we will see. Because I think that I don't have the presentation from Axel, so we need to wait for him. He's here again, I think.
Here I am again. I should be able to share now. Oh, it's still not working. All right. That's always like that. So we take more time to prepare the presentation than to show it, actually.
I am the presentation right again.
Yes, I don't know what is working. What is not working?
If not, you could send me the presentation right away by email, and you could start without it.
Yeah. I restart once again. If it's not working, I send my mail. Sorry for that.
So now we have.
Definitely, it's not working. Okay, I send you the email, and I will start without slides because the first part is more the advertising part. May I have your email address, please?
Yes, I will put it in the chat. Just let me.
Really sorry for the delay. Antonio.
Yeah, you have it.
Okay, it will come in a minute. Okay, first I will introduce without slides. Don't worry. I'll try to be entertaining anyway. The PowerPoint now, and I send it to you. Hope it will go through. PPT. All right, so short introduction, a bit of advertising first. Simon, who are we? So we are a Walloon SME, and basically our core business is more industrial machines. So we are mainly active in robotics and automation. So this is our core business, and we have R&D department with some 12 engineers, and in total we can rely on some 45 employees. So with various specialties like mechanics, pneumatics, and of course automation, robotics, and IT. We are located close to Charleroi Airport, and our turnover, the mail is sent in between, and our turnover is above 8 million euros. So relatively small company, but with a lot of ideas. And so what we basically do to help our customer is to what we call to implement the zero defect automation. So meaning to automate industrial processes with automated quality controls. This is our core business. So we are quite far away here from the renewable energies, but why are we here? Actually, it's because in our R&D department we have some ideas and different projects, and of course the COP21 and all CO2 objectives is also something important, of course, for industry, and important for us in terms of values. So that's how we came to Accutem. I hope you received the presentation in between, because I have one or two pictures that are interesting.
Sorry, but not yet.
You have it?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, that's really a shame, because for me it was sent. Maybe it's too big. I don't know. Okay, so I keep on going without slide, but whatever. So how it all started? It all started actually in 2007, 2008. So it was at the time when Tweed was created, but we didn't know each other yet. Cedric, and Greenwind wasn't even existing. It was in 2008, and we at Disseman decided to develop a sun tracker system. So you see what I mean. So moving solar panels in order to improve the efficiency. Yes, we have the slide. You can go directly to slide 7. Okay, slide 6. So this is our wonderful logo. And then next slide. Okay, so these are the sun trackers we produced at the end of 2008. Next slide, please. And so this is the background of the project. So in 2008, we launched this product. The specific aspect of our sun tracker is that it was a single axis system, so much more cheaper and reliable than other systems. And I must say that between 2009 and 2013, the success was quite high because we sold a bit more than 1,000 trackers, mostly in Belgium because it's a heavy product, so it's hard to export very far. But it was quite a success. And then we were thinking, seeing the success at that time in our R&D department, we were thinking, okay, but now we help to improve solar electricity production, but what can we do with that energy? And that's how the Aquitaine project came out. And we started this R&D in 2015. So we set up the whole project together with Greenwind. We had two companies within the project. So we were the leader, of course. We had another company, Lebrun, which is specialized in fridge installation, and two R&D centers helped us as well. Then in 2018, this R&D project was finished and was successful, of course, because that's why I'm talking here today. And then the next step will be the discussion. I will come back to this in a few minutes because you see 2020X, because the year is not clear yet, but I will explain why. Next slide, please. Okay, so the idea of the project, a bit of technical here, is to use thermal energy storage for positive cold applications. So the idea is to store energy for people that need cold storage. So cold storage, you can think it can be a butcher, it can be a restaurant, it can be a supermarket, it can also be an industry where the cold chain is crucial. Okay. The second idea that we had at the beginning is to come with a kind of plug and play installation. So we wanted that our storage system would be compatible with existing cooling system. The third point we had at the start of the project was that we wanted to use biomaterials and low-cost materials, meaning we wanted to avoid any recycling issues like we have, for instance, with lithium-ion. And then, of course, the last idea was to be competitive towards electricity storage, at least. So what we do here, it's a niche product, of course, because it's only useful if you need cold energy. The big advantage of this project is that we store the directly usage energy and not the primary energy. If you store electricity, you need to convert electricity to make your cooling unit work. We do not need that actually, because we store cold energy in a kind of a battery, and we only use a few watts to bring back this energy to the cold chamber. Next slide, please. So the benefits of the project is that, of course, as every storage system, we help to defer production and use of energy. So when we have sun, we store, or when we have wind, we store, and when we need the energy, then we can use the battery. Of course, it helps to minimize, and this will be more crucial in the future, I think, to minimize consumption peaks and choose the moment. More specifically for a cold chamber, it helps to have a smoother regulation of the temperature within the cold chamber, because we can also work with both systems together to give more energy or soften the energy. And of course, which is also crucial for the grids, because this will be a global issue in the future, is that we help, of course, with this storage system to reduce or even to withdraw the electricity reinjection in the grid. Then the last, but not the lowest benefit is that there is no wear of the battery itself. So the bioproduct we use to store the energy does not suffer any wear. So it means that after 20 years, the performance is the same as in year one. Last one reminder is that it's a niche product, of course, but you have to know that 25% of electricity which is consumed in Europe is used for cold applications. So this is a bit niche. So this is a sketch of the product. So you imagine, you see in the yellow on the right side, the existing cooling unit that everyone knows. And then at the left side, you have the cold chamber that everyone knows. And in between, we set up a battery. So you can push on some slides because I have an animation. Antonio? Okay. So you have the cold chamber and the different elements. I won't go long into it. The idea is that we have, okay, thank you, that's fine. So we use phase change materials. So we have a liquid basically that we freeze, which is in the blue battery. We have the heat exchanger, and then of course we have the different exchanger and the control unit to make the system work. You can go to the next slide, please. Of course, the idea is that we should be able to equip small installation like a butcher or restaurant, as I said, but also bigger installations like in industry and supermarkets. So it has to be easily expandable, and it is. Okay, then you can see on the next slide just a picture of the first prototype that we built here together with the other companies. And next slide. What are the results of the R&D? So our product currently helps to set up 80% of the electricity consumption, the global electricity consumption, over 8 hours only. So typically a good usage for the perfect utilization of sun energy. Yeah? 8 hours a day, it's quite good. We can reach 60 hours autonomy in discharge mode, so in full discharge mode. What is crucial for thermal energy storage is the volume of the storage, and there we could reach quite good results because you have a ratio of 5% between the size of the cold chamber and the size of the battery. So it's relatively easy to set up in existing installations. This is mostly issues that we have with thermal energy storage, is that it needs a huge volume, and here it's not the case. And then with 1 cubic meter of battery, so you imagine 1 pack of 1 cubic meter, we can store up to 80 kilowatt hours of thermal energy. So the results are good, and the project is a success actually, but it's also a failure, and that's where I want to insist on the role of the clusters can have, is that when you see here in terms of competition and pricing, we estimate that we could be up to 60% less expensive than lithium-ion storage system. So it should be a huge success, but it's not yet, because the market is only starting to emerge. And next slide, please. This will be my last slide, and then I can make the loop with Greenwind and with Tweed. Is that now our challenges for the future at the Simon is that we have to leave the lab and we have to go for an industrial product. So we are actually at TRL 5 and we should go to TRL 9 as soon as possible. But we cannot do this alone as we are an SME. So we need also to find beta testers, and we need some partners to be able to enter the market. And there, the role of the clusters are crucial. There are 3 roles we ask them to go beyond this project. Is first of all, like Cedric has said in his presentation, we need to have push to local authorities to think energy storage. Why aren't we on the market yet? It's simply because the tarification and the legal aspects today make that energy storage in general is not profitable yet. So the return on investment of an Aquitaine project today is 16 years. So of course it's not possible to sell if it's 16 years. So we need there to see changes in regulation, and we need push, and Tweed and Greenwind are helping us in that matter. Then of course, to leave the lab and to go for final product, we need a between phase with beta testers, and so the clusters will help us to include this in some pilot projects, some pilot customers in the between phase to validate definitely what we have found in our lab. And then last but not least, of course, we need also the help and maybe the help of the other people listening today to find some partners for commercialization, because we can, as the Simon, be the producer of the system, but as we are not specialized in coal industry, we need also to find distribution network partners and other partners in order to make Aquitaine really not only an R&D success, but also a commercial success. So that was it for me. I hope I wasn't too long, and I hope you learned something. Thank you for listening.
You are very welcome, Axel. For sure, we have learned about your products and your project. Thank you. And it's very important, this slide about how clusters can help you. Okay, so we have only 10 minutes and many questions in the chat, but before going into them, I will invite Poujan Maleki to share with us his invitation. I don't know if his or her invitation about the green facility in the CCP. Hello, Poujan, are you there?
Hello there, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Good morning, everybody. So I'm from the CCP team, and we've recently launched the Towards Green Transition facility, which is essentially a technical assistance service to be provided free of charge to 25 clusters registered on the ECCP to promote the green transition skills amongst their members. So we provide a broad variety of services to improve resource efficiency or generally sustainability, depending on the demands of the clusters. So these will be grouped into various different themes, depending on what is requested. I shared on the chat the link to the application form. The application deadline has been extended to today, to the end of today. So there's still an opportunity for you to have a look and give this a shot. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from hopefully some of the participants on this webinar in the application procedure. And yeah, best of luck, basically.
Perfect. Thank you. I need to say that we as IDEA has applied, so finger crossed, and I really think it's a wonderful, very well designed initiatives. We need support. We have found we made immediately a test between a check between our members on their interest, and we received several very strong expression of interest from our members about this facility, and so this means that this wood is well designed, and I hope we will be there. But anyway, we encourage other clusters for sure to participate and to use this facility. Thank you very much. And now we have 7 minutes for questions. I see that Benoit has made some references to the Valium cluster map. Benoit, would you comment?
Good morning, Antonio, and everybody, of course. No, I was simply trying to provide some additional info to Alan, who was trying to find out whether there are also other Walloon clusters besides Tweed that are working on other thematics. And I was just sharing the page where you can find, so for clusters who are involved in other industrial ecosystems, you can find out on this page in English all the other Walloon clusters which are related to plastics, eco-construction, health, also aeronautics, I think. So you can find it out there.
Okay, who could explain us the difference between the business clusters, competitive cluster, innovation cluster that Gilles referred before? What are those differences, Gilles?
I can try to reply to your question. So, as I told you, we have 6 innovation clusters that we can see on the screen. So one is dedicated to logistics, aeronautics. There is green wind, but there is also Mecatech, dedicated to mechanical engineering. Wagralim is for agro-food, and BioWind for industrial biotech. And you also have business clusters, so like Tweed, but also cluster eco-construction, cat construction, about construction, and PlastiWin for buildings. You have also Infopol, it's for digitalization. And the big difference, once again, we are not competitor, but we need to be complementary. This is the main objective. So in Wallonia, I don't know if it's the same in other regions, but in Wallonia, if you want to get subsidies for research and innovation project, you need to be part of an innovation clusters to get the Walloon fundings. So all the process to set up an innovation, a research and innovation project in Wallonia is based on the innovation clusters policy. Just basically, and to be brief, the eligible condition to be to set up a project in Wallonia, you need to be a consortium of 4 partners, 1 big company, 1 SME, 1 research centers, and 1 university. This is the basic conditions to set up a research and innovation project. But at the end, and this is also very important thing Alex mentioned in his presentation, this is the role of the clusters. It's at the end of the research innovation project when the project is over in terms of the project phase. When we are going to the commercial phase, we need to collaborate more with business clusters around Europe, because it's really good to develop new technologies, but at the end, what is important for the economic growth is to push those technologies on the market. And I think one of the role of the EU Clusters Alliance is this one, is really to help our members, our companies, to push on other markets, because Wallonia is quite a very small region. So we need to help them to push their technologies on the market. And in that sense, in this context, business clusters like Tweed are most important players as well, because the innovation cluster is working on the research and development phase. After, let's say that we give the baby to business clusters, and with business clusters, we try to push our technologies, our member expertise on the market. This is the big difference. To be brief, if you want to get Walloon fundings for research and innovation activities, you need to go through innovation clusters. But once again, we work very closely with Tweed, with Eco Construction, with Cap Construction, with PlastiWin, because they are all in our thematics.
It's wonderful how much I need to learn, and every day here I learn something new, and this is a wonderful references. Thank you, Gilles. I am sharing in the screen 5 recommendations from the report of the expert group on clusters of the European Commission. Okay, and with these sessions we want to find concrete ways to make these recommendations reality. Okay, so we will include your references online with these 5 statements. Okay, so I will say that source is a clear example of how to use clusters, drive of change, accelerators and enablers. Marek, I see you there.
Yeah, because I think this is a very interesting point you raised, and we can discuss about the innovation ecosystem in Wallonia as well with the regional authorities, because in innovation clusters, in business clusters, it will imply that business clusters are not innovation clusters, meaning that it's very, and this division is very very artificial. Actually, it's based on a regulatory framework where the regulator puts the implication in the regulations that business clusters cannot innovation clusters, and they cut them from funds for innovation. While innovation in the open economy and open innovation is very much market driven. So I think that's a very good point, and thank you for raising this. I think we can dive in in the discussion, because it's it depends country to country, region to region, and in my personal view, it hinders innovation. Actually, thank you.
You're very welcome, Marek. It's a very important point. It's true. I totally agree that naturally we cover both areas. Okay, but how old is this policy working on your region, Gilles?
So Greenway is the last one, last innovation cluster to be born, but the policy of innovation cluster started in 2002. Yeah, the five first innovation clusters have been created in 2002. So it's nearly 20 years. But I don't know, maybe for a business cluster, if Cedric knows when, if all the business clusters started together.
It was earlier, and so the business clusters are existing for more than 20 years, I think. So I don't see a major difference between the role that we are doing as a business cluster. We need innovation through the cluster to provide products and services in the market. It could be innovation from the technology side. It's more the innovation cluster that are working in it, but you need innovation at the market side. And so it's more, I think, for the business cluster that are managing that type. So you need technology, but as well a regulatory framework. You need this ecosystem to work together. You need the consumers and really the cities, all the players. In fact, we are more working on the business models than really. So we need the both ways. We need the new technologies and the business models in the same time. So I think the difference in the future between business cluster and innovation cluster will be reduced for sure in the different countries. But as Gilles has said, we are functioning. If we are working together in cooperation way, it's functioning. We have a lot of work to do, so much work to do, too much work to do. So we need to work with the different type of cluster and different type of organization, and if everybody is doing a part of the job, it will be successful in the end. So I don't think that this limit is very relevant right now.
And as I said before, if I can add a last thing, just to prove that we are very complementary, we have as innovation cluster, we have 3 calls for proposals per year, and the last one we organize it with TWEED because we know that the TWEED members are related to some of our thematics. So we are really working together, and at the end we are just in charge and responsible for the process to set up the project. But our call for proposal concerns also TWEED members.
Thank you, Gilles. I think that we need to learn from that. As Marek said, we need to think about it and to learn from it. But anyway, thank you. It has been a very inspiring session, and congratulations for all your projects and actions. For sure, I am quite sure that we will contact you with invitation for projects. So thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.